Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you guys know, in our last tutorial, we had learned about references. What are references? How we can pass the references to JSX elements and how we can pass the references to React.js components. Let me go ahead to our last tutorial example and I will show you some drawbacks and then I will come towards reference forwarding, why it is important and how we can do reference forwarding between two components or between the child component towards parent component. This was our child component in our last example, input. In that input, we had created an input ref. Then we had created a method where we are focusing the input ref. Then we are passing this input ref to our JSX element. This was our parent method. Another input ref we had created, and then we are calling here as well one method. What will happen, what like we are creating two reference of input here, and then we are creating two methods separately in parent and child component to do one small thing. What's that? To focus the input field. What if we are able to pass this as a props, this reference as a props towards our child component, and child component we will just pass it to our JSX element. Is it better or no? Like we will not go on with different like we can in that scenario if we can pass this reference to our child component, no need to create component reference in our child component, no need to create any method in our child component. That is for sure better. You will be saving the memory, you will be saving your lines of codes as well. Every way it's important and it's better. So this way to forward your reference from parent component to child component is called reference forwarding. So let's go ahead and try to do it with the same example that we have done in our last tutorial. I'll create a new input field called fr input .js. Inside that one, I will say React functional component, and inside functional component, I will create one input and type I will pass it as text. Sorry, type is text. Save it. What we have to do in that case, I have to create another functional component fr mean forward reference parent input okay dot js. And in that one RCE, I will create a class component. Inside class component, what I have to do is I have to just import first fr input inside this, and then down I will create a button. Inside that one I will say focus input. I have to import this one in my app.js as well, app.js component as well. Let me go ahead and try to rerun. This is what our example is. Same example we have to do once we are clicking on the focus input button. It should focus the input field by using forward references. Let's come to our parent component, our const create one reference. What you will create one reference in the constructor, this dot input ref equals to react dot create ref. We had created a reference. Now we have to pass this reference to our child component. How we can pass it? By using ref keyword. And this is the very normal way to pass any props, reference or keys to your child component. But now before, what you are doing is you are just doing props like this to get your props from the parent component you had passed, or you are using curly braces to destructure the props and accessing them with the help of their name directly. Keep in mind, two words are reserved in React. You cannot access them directly. One of them is keys and second is reference or ref. So how you can access them here is, let me show you how you can access. You have to, I'll copy this return statement here, control C, and I'll comment it out. I have to create a method in a little bit different way. Const fr input equals to arrow function, and inside arrow function I'll do my return. This is the way how I can get the references. And down I have to do export default and fr input. That's the way how I can do, but I cannot still access here the reference. How I can access the reference here is, let me cut this method. I will use React dot forward reference. There is one forward reference method available in React library. You can use that method that will accept a component as an input and return a component as an output as well. Like in HOCs. We will be discussing HOCs later in this series. And similarly, you will pass the same arrow function back to your forward ref function, and when you are passing the arrow function, the difference between this and normal arrow function is you can take props as a first parameter and you can take another parameter as second parameter named as ref. You can pass this ref directly to your JSX element. Now you had forwarded the reference of your input from the parent component. This reference you had created here in the parent component and you had forwarded it towards your child component. Now what we have want is on click, I want is this dot click handler. What click handler will do, it will help me to focus the input field in the child component. I'll be using arrow function for click handler, and inside that one this dot input ref dot current dot focus. That's it. Let me go ahead and show you. Let me try to reload the page. See, there is no error anywhere. I can just click on focus input and you guys can see my input is focused. So this is the way how you can forward the references. Let me go ahead and summarize what we have done by today. We had created a parent component called fr parent input. In the constructor, we had created one reference. That reference we had passed to our fr input child component. In child component, we had got that reference, or we had retrieved the reference by using React.forwardReference method from the React library. What this method is doing, taking a component as an input and returning another component or well identified component as an output, which can help you to get references as a props as well or as second parameter. That reference is forwarded towards our JSX element we had passed by using ref keyword, and similarly in parent component on button click event we had called a handler. With the help of this handler we had focused the input or by using the reference. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys like it. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.